So good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to present here, and I'm glad that Dr. James is here so he can answer any technical question about the project. Because from what I heard earlier today, it seems that everyone has a deep technical knowledge in the digital humanities sector, but I'm really coming from more a research or architecture background. So today I'm representing the MaDiH Mapping Digital Cultural Heritage in Jordan project, which has finished earlier this year. And I'm currently working as a researcher at the Council for British Research in the Levant. So to start to put you in the context of the project, we have been working in Jordan as the rich and diverse cultural heritage of the country has attracted the attention of the research community, where researchers explored and studied the rich content through documentation, conservation projects, mainly related to archaeology, at every level, at universities, at museums and government facilities. And it seems that they have produced metadata as part of their study on Jordan's heritage in different forms, whether online or offline data. So those data sets or databases are only existing at their institutional level or research level, and the lack of a national data catalog means that some of them are neglected or repeated or underused. So the aim of our project was to look at the databases that have been formulated through over the past 50 years by teams, official institutions, museums, or researchers and individuals, and to look at them and collect all their content on Jordanian cultural heritage under one umbrella. At the first stage, we just wanted to know what is existing there and to explore what has been done, and to link all these databases together, not really looking at their real content, because this can happen at a later stage, hopefully. As part of the project, we also aim to produce a policy white paper to identify relevant national and international policies and link them to the local framework. They are now ready and produced and outlined, and I will share with you the links later if you need them. And also a technical white paper to list all the requirements for improvement of existing infrastructures, systems and tools, as well as research papers that some of them have been published and some is still under preparation. And also like a start or a catalog of a national heritage data repository that started at King's College London and is now being moved to Hashemite University in Jordan. So I will start talking about the MaDiH CCAN repository, which is the mainly related to the digital content and infrastructure outcome of the project. We mainly started looking at the resources of the databases, whether it's outside or inside Jordan. At the first stage, we didn't know what we are facing, and we didn't know how much data will we find. So we had to create a dataset identification protocol. Many of the technical knowledge and the even the ethical knowledge and the data was related to and was supported by the protocols at King's College London, and that was very helpful for us. And even the templates were supported and developed by them at the start with some customization based on our needs. They cover all the project data or the database content, at least at a very descriptive stage. And some of them were private or public, and we have used a platform called CCAN, which is an open access platform to share information on datasets, to use open source and to keep everything that we have as an open source outcome. We have also created a data vocabulary. The data vocabulary is also explains and illustrates all the terminologies that we have used for anyone who wants to complete at a later stage to understand the data and figure out what we have done. This is the interface of the MaDiH CCAN repository. As you can see, it's very simple. It has some information on the datasets, the organizations who have created the datasets, and some groups that gathered datasets based on their content, on their location, on many ideas, and some information about the project. With the search bar, of course, and popular tags based on the content that was entered by the team. So what have we covered? As I told you, we were discovering at this stage. So we have looked at all types of data sets that relate to cultural heritage, to the cultural heritage of Jordan. We have decided not to cover the natural heritage unless it links to the cultural heritage. And at the first stage, we looked at everything related to the tangible and intangible cultural heritage based on UNESCO definition to see what is there. So in 2 years, the project was funded. I didn't mention the funding. The project was funded by the Newton Khalidi Fund, and it ran for almost 2 years. It finished like last July. So throughout this period, we have found almost 325 datasets that belong to 188 organizations. 1/3 of them is inside Jordan, while the other 2/3 are located outside the country. You can see that, for example, 70 database is located in the US, like 32 is in the UK, and they are mainly in the US and Europe, and some of them are distributed in other countries. All of that data was first, we had to create a MaDiH community. We have formulated a steering committee to inform the policymakers of our project from its first stages. We have communicated also with the heritage professionals through meetings, workshops, and a public lecture that was done before COVID-19. And we have also created social media communication channels on Facebook and Twitter for the project, a Facebook page and a Twitter account, and also a YouTube channel. We have also had some radio interviews and TV interviews to engage the public audience with our project. And hopefully it was successful, as everyone was aware of what we were doing at the end of the project. As an outcome also, we have created identified the relevant national and international policies and how they link to the local Jordanian context through the policy white paper. Something very important in Jordan is to have the outcomes in English and Arabic, because sometimes if you find the content is only in English, the policymakers will not benefit from it. So it has to be bilingual. And that was an essential outcome from our project, and it's also published. The key policy recommendations relate to the development of a national center for Jordanian digital cultural heritage, where our project can be the primary asset. Jordan has a deep experience in cultural heritage management and archaeology, so it can be a global leader in digital cultural humanities. Increased collaboration between ministries and departments can help in linking and connecting the data collection and storage between archaeology, heritage, and intangible cultural heritage, because at this stage, like every institution is responsible for one of those things. The Department of Antiquities, for example, is responsible to protect the archaeology, so they have their own databases, while the Ministry of Culture has their own databases for the intangible cultural heritage. So looking at linking those databases together can be very helpful. The MaDiH repository is an example of the open source technology, and this is something very important in Jordan because the government is now moving forward open technology, open access, and transparency with the people. Funding agencies can also support the research software engineering students in Jordan and abroad, and to study abroad maybe. We have to ensure that the academic community is aware of the MaDiH catalog and can help them, is involved in the curriculum development at the educational level. We have many artifacts, Jordanian artifacts that are around the world. So through MaDiH, maybe we can consider the development of a global map of Jordanian artifacts. The expertise in Arabic and English translation also can make and support the localization of the content. Also, Jordan is involved in digital cultural humanities, so they can take leadership in the enhancement of global digital multilingualism, because this was also an issue that we have faced while working on the CCAN. For example, for us, the Arabic translation was not right or was not enough, so we had to contribute a little bit to the CCAN translation. The technical white paper focuses on the technical analysis of the project and the technical sides. from sustainability, digitization requirements to the licensing, and it was also produced in English and Arabic. So mainly those relate to the processes and vocabulary that were developed by the project can be used for the data identification and collection activities in Jordan. MaDiH can be seen as a model for future funding and needs to undertake like preliminary engineering and design processes before embarking on major enhancements. So it can be a start or a sample or a model or a pilot project that will help other initiatives in the future. And we aim, inshallah, to look for funding and complete the project at different stages. The awareness of the technical requirements and value of open access can be supporting the technical development of the MaDiH SICAN repository. Of course, cost-benefit analysis will help the engagement of the project within the national policy goals. The data quality and integration issues should be considered in the long-term planning of the project. Digitization and collaboration initiatives should be, of course, taken into consideration, and new generations through training can have some opportunities in digital culture humanities field. The expertise as well can be to ensure best practice in design and engineering in the further development and maintenance of the repository. I just have to mention one thing. I just forgot to mention the project partner. So we have King's College London from the UK, and we have Dr. James Smithis as the project principal investigator from the UK. We have the Hashemite University also from Jordan as an academic partner, where Dr. Fadi Balawi was the project principal investigator as well. We had the Council for British Research and the Levant, which is the UK Jordanian partner, which is based in Amman, and I'm from that institution that aims to connect the UK and Jordanian researchers. And we had the technical partner was the Jordanian Open Source Association, which is an NGO that is mainly their work is related to the development and the technical issues, as well as the Department of Antiquities as the main organizational partner, and the Endangered Archaeology in the Middle East and North Africa project, the AMINA, from the University of Oxford, who also helped us very well in the vocabulary and everything that relates to the technical development of the catalog. The challenges that we have faced relate to the scope of the project, as we were experimenting at this stage. Are we looking for databases inside or outside Jordan? What are the sizes of the databases? Sometimes it's only about one site. Sometimes it covers like 1,000 or 100 sites in Jordan. So this has to be considered at later stages. The technical and the rapid technical development, and how to integrate our project within the government development and government strategies. The operationals that relate to the digital softwares, how are the research software engineers, what softwares do they use, are they well trained or not, how to like maintain and have everything like in place related to the operations of the project. So most of the data sets can be, like most of them, yes, can be linked to one aspect that can be developed at a later stage. For example, you can look at the databases and their development for the tourism purposes, and even that applies for MaDiH. You can look at its development in the direction of education and skills, where you have publications. You can look at them where you can link them to the intangible heritage of Jordan. So, for example, we have a website for the Royal Jordanian Heritage, which can link people to the sense of place. The environment life, which relates to the natural heritage, like the APAMI database that documents satellite imagery and aerial archaeology from the about Jordan. We have also things about the quality of life and regeneration and development projects. So the project can go in all directions, depends on our values and depends on what do we want to highlight from our outcomes. So as I mentioned, this is the first stage. We aim to deliver the digital infrastructure for Jordan's cultural heritage. At later stages, to start with building digital cultural heritage in Jordan through transferring the data that was planned in the UK or designed the database to Jordan. And luckily we had COVID-19, so we had some funding, and we managed to transfer the content to Hashemite University from the UK to Jordan. And it's supposed to be on the university website mainly in the upcoming months, soon inshallah. And then we have to deliver the digital cultural heritage to Jordan through producing a concept brief for a national digital cultural heritage center in Jordan. The future funding can range from very low level of funding to sustain what we have done for now. And the second option is to have a similar amount of funding to phase 1 to initiate phase 2. And that can be like similar to the first stage, which is 250,000 Jordanian dinars or pounds. And we can have a large grant, maybe of a European funding, to build the National Heritage Data Repository. So we are flexible in all directions through the development or even through the funding. So to conclude, MaDiH is a store of memory, a tool for research, a resource. It's not an archive in itself, but a gateway to the diverse, rich heritage of Jordan. And hopefully, if we build upon what we have done for now, it will be the start of a database that has all the content on Jordanian cultural heritage and can be used by everyone for research, for tourism purposes, for development, for decision making. And this is what we have aimed for from the start. Thank you very much.